How you doing, guys? Get another Q&A session, and a couple things before I get started. First of all, a lot of you guys are asking questions that lead into other questions, which is kind of cool. I don't think you guys intended to do that, but it's still pretty cool when it happens. Second thing, and this is for future reference, if we can keep it down to one question per comment. I mean, you can leave several questions in individual comments, that's cool. The problem is that when people leave like 5 or 6 questions in one comment and then that thing gets up-thumbed, you're like, okay, which one of these do people like? And I don't know. Also, and kind of related to that, I had a lot of repeats, and I also had a lot of really good questions. So if you don't see your question in this one, it's not that I was, axing it because I hate you or anything like that. I don't. But I just had so many, and I try to keep it down to one sheet of paper like this. So the next time I do one, ask again, and I'll try to get to it that time. But let's get started. Actually, it used to be a radio show, which is how it started. Originally, the idea back in the 90s when I started this, it was a real audio, streaming audio station, and it was a talk radio show talking about paintball. We're, tackling some really interesting topics back in the day. I still have all the audio equipment somewhere in storage. But yeah, it's originally started as a radio station, and if you're really good, you might be able to find some of the original real audio files out there. If you do find them, let me know, because I've lost them in the sands of time, so there you go. Oh, that'd be this little dude right over here. That's Marcy McAdams' work. She's an artist, a graphic artist in Canada, and she also drew for me this, which actually leads me into the next question. That logo over here was the logo for the Wisconsin Wolves, which was my USPL team. Now, USPL was originally something that Steve Davidson had come up with, and it was sort of a precursor to what you guys now know as X-Ball. And he had a whole bunch of franchise teams, and I had a franchise team, the Wolves. We didn't fare so well in the opening event. We were kind of a scrub team, and we knew that going into it. And eventually the idea was we were going to start taking it seriously, and it just didn't happen. So, yeah. But that's okay, though. But other than that, no, I really haven't played on a pro team. I haven't really seen a purpose in playing on a pro team, mainly because I don't see tournament paintball as an end. There's nothing to drive towards. It's just a money pit. You just throw money into it, and you don't really get anything out of it. And if you don't believe me, ask what most pro players do for a living. Odds are it's something like delivering pizzas. Okay, this is where I'm going to draw the line, guys, because there comes a point where you cross the line from being a fan to being creepy stalker dude. And this is one of those questions. The best thing about paintball, I think, it's actually the problem solving. And it's the fact that every game gives you a different problem to solve. You can play the same field over and over and over again, and, well, short of the airball fields, which sometimes is just the 2-1-2 all day. But almost every game is a different problem. Almost every game you have to use a different skill set. You have to look at things a little bit differently. You can play different scenarios. And I like that. It's challenging to me, and that's the cool part. Wow, only 3. There's a lot to remember, but the big 3, and I know somebody's already talked about this on the forum when you put your question up. Hydration. Bring lots of water with you because you can't rely on the field to always have it there, so bring your own big supply of water. Comfortable shoes because you're going to be walking a lot, and specifically to the game itself, the mission is the thing. Don't get sucked into firefights. Look at the mission cards, find out what you have to do to accomplish the mission, and get out. That's the easiest way to win a scenario game. Hang on, before we go to the next thing, that's not to say that don't have fun. You can have a good time losing a scenario game too, because it's not really if you win or you lose, it's spending a weekend with your friends, camping out for the weekend, and having a good time. So, don't get sucked into the mindset of, we need these points, winning is fun, but don't let that be the only thing that you take away from it. Don't play. Ironic, I'm one of those. No, but the easiest way to not injure yourself is just be a little prepared. Before the game begins, stretch out a little bit. Get loose, get comfortable, and don't overexert yourself. If something starts to hurt, stop playing and figure out what you did to yourself. I played on a broken ankle for the entire afternoon and didn't realize how bad it was until I got home the next day and tried to take a step on it. Okay, I'm done. Okay, it's fine. Oh boy, you guys are trying to get me into trouble. Yeah. I have a problem with D-Day, I have a problem with Ion, I have a problem with any game that is a war reenactment. Yeah, Dalek pretty much ruined that for me, but I have a much larger problem than that, and it's something that's going to take a lot of explaining to get into. So one of these days, I might make it a tactical thing, I'm not entirely certain, but I really... Games like that just grate me, and it's easier to make an entire show about it than try to just boil it down into one little thing over here. So I guess stay tuned for that. You know, when I read that post, my first thought was, you trolling! But then I thought about it, and the guy says he's from Canada, and I don't think Canadians are capable of trolling. I think it's a genetic thing, they just can't do it. So assuming that this guy is charging $160 for a case of white box paint, don't go there. Ooh, this one I can kind of tell you, because that's the way the game used to be played when I first started playing. When the first time I ever played it was with PGP, and it was against stuff like Piranha Long Barrels and Bushmaster SIs and all sorts of other pump guns, and that's all anybody had. It was just all pump guns. And it really made the game a lot more different because you did not have the huge amounts of firepower. You could still throw a good string out there if you had a decent hopper, but for the most part, no, you couldn't do that. So I don't think that at this point you can do that anymore, because I think most players would like to have the semi-auto, because the one thing with the pump gun is half the time you didn't even know if the gun was loaded or not. And you know, a lot of people don't enjoy that, so I wonder why. So no, actually I'm kind of okay with the way the game is right now. I used to not be okay with it, but now it's kind of grown on me. No. And it's not because I don't want to talk about it, it's because you have a My Little Pony avatar, and that pretty much nullifies anything I want to talk to you about, so forget it. Oh, this one's a no-brainer. It's all about the team play, you know. It doesn't matter how many people you kill, did you win the game? And this is the problem I have with a lot of people playing paintball, is that they just want to go out there and just mow faces all day. And meanwhile, while they're sitting up in the front line mowing faces, one sneaky dude got around behind and got the flag and captured it to win the game. Dude, I shot like 30 of you guys! Yeah, that's nice, you still lost. In a way, I kind of find it refreshing, because when nobody has a plan, it's like, okay, that's fine. And I don't try to take on the quarterback role all the time. One of my favorite things to do, and if you want to try this is just hilarious. Find the one kid who's just like looking like he's terrified of what's going on, and look at him and say, okay, Captain, what's the game plan? And this kind of brings him up to the front of, now he's kind of feeling like he's going to be more involved in the game, and that's actually the cool thing. But for the most part, when you're just playing walk-on play, it's the most you can ask for is, okay, you're going that way, you're going that way, who's covering what? Okay, nobody's covering this side, I'm going to go that way, guys, I'll see you in the middle. Now, I'm kind of sad to see him go, but by the other aspect, I understand. You know, situations change, and you got to go on, you got to do what you got to do, and that's fine. And I have no problem with that. You know, I wish him well, and I hope that it works out for him. I hope that he stays playing paintball. That would be really cool to see. But as far as Spec Ops' new situation, I'm kind of the idea of, you know, hang back, wait and see, because at this point, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what kind of deals are being made. I'm just hoping that they keep the quality of their in-house gear up, and I hope that they still remain as what they are. I mean, they were the first company that really made Woods Ball cool again, so I'd really like to see them continue. Okay, 50 caliber paintballs. Now, I've heard the new stuff is different than the old stuff, because when I used to play, we had a couple guys with 50 caliber spot markers, and these were like 6-round pistol type guns that were absolutely freaking useless. When paintballs bounce off of rocks, that's not good, and that's what the old 50 cal was. Now, I've heard stories that the new 50 cal is different. I've heard this and I've heard that, and I've seen a couple people play with the new 50 cal, but I've never actually shot it or been shot by it yet. I know of one field in the area that does 50 cal, and if I had some spare money, I would go there. But for the most part, I'm looking at 50 caliber as very gimmicky. It's just very much the, oh, well, you've already got all this paintball gear, well, here's some more gear you can buy. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But it really seemed at the time when I first heard about it, and I got all these pro players, you know, gushing about how cool this was, that's when I went, okay, I've heard this dance before. I know how this one goes. Yeah, I'm not buying it. Just one? Just one. I suppose when the players of this game, the hardcore players of this game, or the hardcore players of this game, do incredibly stupid things that mar the image of this sport. Around the Wisconsin area, we're getting a lot of people who are shooting road signs on their way home from the field, which is just fundamentally stupid because, oh gee, well it's blue paintballs. Where can you get blue paintballs? Well, about 2 miles down the road there's a paintball field. Let's go through the list and see who was playing today. Yeah, really intelligent guys. That's spot on, fantastic. Now I know you guys are trying to get me into trouble. That's what it comes down to. Mike over at TechPB, I personally don't have a problem with Mike. His style is not my style of things, but the one thing that I admire about him is he gets stuff done. He's one of the only people in the paintball industry who says, I'm going to make this happen, and not only does he make it happen, he gets everybody involved and they all make it happen. That's the one thing about TechPB that really impresses me about it. You know, actually there's been a couple of those, but most of them are now dated to the point where I wouldn't show them to people to teach them how to play because it's out of date. Fred Schultz, Guide to Paintball, that was a VHS tape back in the 90s. That was excellent. It started you from, I know nothing about the game, to I feel confident to play my first game, and that was awesome. The Iron Man video, the VHS that they put out, that was pretty cool too, except you kind of had to know what you were doing in order to get anything out of it. And it was kind of a strange thing. So you had to know, and at the time I had no clue. So I had to watch it several years later and went, oh, that makes sense now. There's been more recently, I've seen a couple of DVDs that also have the right idea, but they just don't work. And actually this brings me to one final point, and that is the Blip TV stuff. You see, YouTube, they're really, really sketchy about anybody doing video reviews and, you know, doing the partner thing with them. They've already shut down a couple of my videos for that. So with that in mind, anytime that I'm doing a DVD review, check the Facebook page, and there should be a link to Blip TV, and they're more than happy to host shows like that because they actually understand things like how fair use works. So, and if there's going to be any more DVDs reviews down the road, and yes, I'm just promising now that there are probably going to be more DVD reviews down the road, they will be on Blip TV, and I'll have links down below to the WebDog Radio on Blip TV stuff. I think we're done here. So, okay, thank you guys very much for the Q&A stuff. Now, if you've got any more Q&A stuff, I will be putting out another call out probably in the next week or so. Be watching on the Facebook page, be watching here, and we'll have all sorts of announcements for that. So once again, thank you guys very much. Like I said, if I didn't get to your question this time, ask again on the next one. I'll be, I look at the thumbs up one first, and then I just kind of look from there to see what's repeated. So guys, thank you very much, and I'll catch you guys later on in the week.